Today I'm going to share with you my must reads to have a spiritual awakening. So whenever somebody asks me to tell a little bit about myself, one of the first things I'll go to, my go-to answers is I love to learn. I think I have an addiction to that aha moment when I can see things in a new perspective. I think that is the definition of spiritual awakening, or waking up spiritually, is when you have those aha moments. So I want to share with you some of the books that helped me have a lot of those moments. So the first book that I enjoyed and love is A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. So Eckhart explains, he has two words for an experience that we all have that I just love. One is called the pain body and one is the ego. So these are two different pieces of who we are. The pain body it's almost like whenever we have a difficult time or whenever we struggle, then that experience gets kind of put into this pain body. And when that pain body gets awoken or gets pushed or then we become triggered, we would call it triggered. But it's that pain body. It's the accumulation of those things that have hurt us. And when that pain body is active, usually we are very reactive, let's say. So then we have separately is the ego, and the ego speaks two languages. I'm not enough or I'm better than. And so if we're in our ego, that's just a little bit different than being triggered. It's more like we are, just feeling bad about ourselves or feeling like we're better than, you're comparing. So those are kind of two different states. And A New Earth, he describes how being in the moment, staying with the now, is how we stay out of our pain body, because our pain body is talking about things of the past, and then the ego is talking about, telling ourselves stories almost, even maybe about the future. So love Eckhart Tolle. I usually keep it on about 1.5 speed because I do Audible, love Audible, because I just can't wait to get more and more information. So anything Eckhart Tolle says and does is so amazing. So the second book that I want to talk about is The Fifth Agreement. So there's a book called The Four Agreements, and I highly recommend it. So totally read the Four Agreements, but then go on to the Fifth Agreement, because that Fifth Agreement is so powerful. So this book is by Don Miguel Ruiz, and he is so amazing at teaching you how you have been trained in your life to have certain thoughts or to act a certain way or to think a certain way. And we've all done it. Everyone's done it. And so he just teaches you how to look at things differently, to recognize where you are just following a pattern, but it's in a good supportive way. He does it so well. But then he talks about how do we move forward into living a beautiful life? And he has these agreements, these things that if we would just pay attention to these simple steps, then we can have the life that we always wanted. So the four agreements are, number one, be impeccable with your word. So if you're always in alignment with truth and with love in what you say, then it is going to help you have the life that you want. The second one is don't take anything personally, realizing that anytime someone is treating you badly, it's not personal to you. It's their, what we'd call pain body from the book before coming out. It's really not about you. The third thing is don't make assumptions. And we do this all the time. We assume this person's not going to like us. We assume we're not good enough. There's so many ways that we assume things. And so if we can let that go, then we can really find that our path is more empowered. The fourth one is always do your best. And he says, if we can just do this one, realize that we're always just doing our best. And sometimes our best isn't someone else's best. Sometimes our best isn't 100%, but it's our very best. And then the fifth agreement is be skeptical, but learn to listen. So whenever someone tells us something, have that little bit of skeptical for a minute until we go inside, until we recognize and see how it connects with us as an individual. The next book I want to talk about is Remembering Wholeness by Eckhart Tolle. And this one is a beautiful book to feed your spiritual body. It can help you really see who you are and guide you to creating the life that you want. One of the things that's unique about this book is Carol really dissects prayer and is a master at helping you use prayer more individually and as with creative power instead of submissive power. And I really recommend Remembering Wholeness if you are looking to create a better life for yourself. And the last book, it's Falling Upward by Richard Rohr. So Richard Rohr is a Franciscan monk. And one of the reasons why I want to include this in my book selection is that many people think that their religion is going to conflict with their spiritual awakening, that people that are highly religious kind of feel uncomfortable with this idea of awakening spiritually. But he is a Franciscan monk, and he loves his religion and fully stays committed to it, and has a way of describing how they can work together. And I really, really loved his book. It's new to me, and I think he has plenty more books that I'm going to have to learn to read. But it's great to hear him tell his energetic stories like an old grandpa, and where he's walking to school up and down both ways. But he really challenges you into your thinking of what is the uphill, what is the hill, and such a great motivator to move into there. He calls it first half of life living and second half of life living. And once you move into second life, your awareness of others, your peace, happiness, support, and love for yourself and others just grows exponentially. And so the first half of life is important, and the second half of life is important. And as we move into second half life, maybe we might feel uncomfortable or worry, and he calms those worries right down. If you have books that speak to you and have helped you in your spiritual awakening, this idea of your spiritual body growing and expanding and becoming your own, please comment below. I love recommendations. If you have a quote from one of your favorite books, throw it down there as well, so that we can all share and we can all grow from each other. And as we grow individually, and spiritually individually, then we grow as a whole. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment. I need some more books, and I need to learn from you and your greatness. So drop me a comment, and I'll try to respond as quickly as I can. So make sure you subscribe so that you can see all the wholeness hacks. Our goal here at the Wholeness Network is to help you live your life more whole.